All right, hello everybody and welcome. We're here in Champion Select for Game 1 between Inhale Debguy and River Shen Reformed. I'm Niberia. I'm joined here by Zeta. Zeta, how are you doing today, man?
I'm doing fantastic. It's actually going to be, I think, my first time casting back with Learning Fives in quite some time. There's been a lot of side projects, a lot of work keeping me away from this microphone. But today, I am back. I'm in the secondary seat, as color is often dubbed. But we're into pick and ban. We've got Heimerdinger off the table as well. I mean, it's great, you know? It's
Yeah,
excellent.
I think now I'm going to do a little bit of color here myself. I think I'm capable of saying something about these bands so far.
Hmm.
Aatrox and Heimerdinger are what we often refer to as troll bands because they are useless champions. Heimerdinger is less useless than others because sometimes you can get a stun grenade into laser and insta kill them, but Aatrox certainly not what we'd consider a top tier ban.
You know, at one point, I would have disagreed with you. I would have said, look at it. It's been, in League of Legends, it's in pro play, it's one of the most contested top laners. And then you pause a second and you go, wait, Aatrox is a top laner. And then you remember that that was season 3 and it's been 4 years. No, he's not a pick that you actually see ever in League of Legends. What you do see is you see things like this. We've got Jax, definitely a pick that can snowball out of control, but into the Pantheon, very, very rough in the early games. We're going to have to see quite a bit of focus towards the top side in order to make Jarsa have a little bit easier time in dealing with the spear chucking monster.
Yeah, now, to everyone who's watching and is not familiar with our format, the reason these pick bans are flying by, and that seems like a stupid top lane counter pick, this isn't the actual order of the draft. What we do is we have a third party program through League of Legends called Pro Draft, and we have the captains go through there. So if you're wondering why the order seems kind of weird, that's why. Coming out,
And why they're banning Garen and
yeah,
why they're banning Aatrox, it's all part of the plan
yeah,
in essence, right? This has been planned out, but what has been planned out actually, and what is realistic, is the fact that these comps, as they're taking shape, we see Sejuani with the Talia, and then Pantheon. Talia Pantheon, two global ultimates. That gives River Shen Reformed quite a bit of freedom in terms of the way they play and move about the map because they have very quick ways to respond if they send someone off to shove a side lane, if they want to, push up, force people out, because that kind of pick potential, it's hard to play around, especially if you don't have proper vision control, especially if you don't know where they are on the map.
absolutely. And another thing that synergizes really well with that is the Sejuani, who has that incredible lockdown ability. And what you can do is essentially Sejuani can say, okay, I'm about to go in. Get ready. Are you nearby? Good. And then just ult, Q in, get the stun, and both those globals can come out and just come out and make a fight that might have been maybe a 1v2 into a 3v2 and hopefully a victory for River Shen Reformed. But that might not always happen, especially with champions like Jax and Warwick who have some CC, Kassadin and Tristana who can get away fairly easily. So we'll see how the rest of Pick Ban turns out. Hopefully that's not a teleport cleanse Tristana, though I would like to see it.
What I think would be really interesting at this point is um, if we see the Caston actually go for early kills. Because what a lot of people don't realize about the Talia is in the early game, you have to play around minions so much that you can't actually get significant amounts of damage without landing your W combo. Because
Mm-hmm.
without the knockup, without the displacement, it's really hard to force someone away from their minions long enough to land consistent DPS. Kassadin, nowhere near that problem. He's got Q poke, he's got null spheres, they've got DFT on them, they're going to be burning, corrupting pot ticks. All of that damage onto the Talia means that the early game Kassadin can think about, Q poking, W flashing, and sometimes even taking aggressive summoner spells to facilitate those early kills. But speaking of facilitating early kills, we have Zyra Khan bot lane. And this is the strongest bot lane in the game if you discount Kalista on any champion. This is so incredibly potent. And I mean, realistically, like Zyra Khan, I don't care who you're bringing to the table. Nami's a great sustain support. She will not be able to withstand this onslaught of feathers.
That is, however, assuming that the early game goes well for them. They have great engage potential and lockdown between Rakan's W with the knockup, and then Zaya can get a root out of that. But if you can't get those combos off as well, Tristana Nami is a little bit easier to execute on, really. All you need is one bubble, and then Tristana can drop the explosive charge up the rapid fire, and then suddenly you're missing 30% of your health. So it's possible that because of the level of play, the Tristana Nami lane might fare better than it might in, say, LCK or...
LCK Autumn Finals.
Yeah, LCK Autumn Finals, which just were on this morning, you know. So maybe it won't be as effective, but...
It feels like yesterday, but yeah. Realistically, you are completely correct. This is going to be a lane about execution. The Rakan at 6, you can't miss, right? So that's where it becomes extremely scary for myself. When I'm looking at this lane, it's at 6, Xayah Rakan. There's no way to dodge Rakan. There's very few ways to disengage the Xayah, and at that point, your Nami is guaranteed dead. Your Tristana could follow shortly thereafter, and that's when it gets really worrisome. But, of course, we have a lot of ways to counter that. We've got double teleports coming out of the Kassadin and the Jax so that they can try to respond to this global pressure, and the Warwick obviously can choose where he wants to go. So at 6, I expect to see a lot of pressure down towards his bot lane to try and make sure that some kind of a dive or hard engage from those two in the 2 versus 2 lane doesn't become successful.
Yeah, there's a lot of level 6 pressure actually in all of the lanes, and as you said, bot lane seems to be the most likely place for that because you have the 4 teleports in the game, 2 on each side, mid and top, but you also have, for the side of River Shen Reformed, you have those 2 globals, and they're probably not going top. There's no reason for that because Pantheon's top. They're not going mid because Talia's already there. So the one place they can go where they can make the best use of the double global composition would be bot lane. Which is why, as you said, the double teleport from both sides is really nice. I don't know how well that would go for Inhale Debguy, though.
I think Talia has Ignite on.
I can't tell because it's off the side of the client.
Yeah, Riot Games, if you're ever looking at stuff, please definitely take a look at where your summoner spells are moved in the right side of the client, because they've been off bounds for
since the new
client, at least. And it used to be that both of them were off. So you were like, oh, it's understandable, but like the left one has proper bounds, the right one doesn't. Come on now, that's a simple mistake. But realistically, I mean, this is an incredibly strong 6 comp. It's got great globals, great pressure. It's going to be very interesting to see if they can play around that, right? The Kassadin is strong at 6. The Jax can absolutely 1v1 once he gets a couple items, but they need to get to those points, those power spikes, before they get mashed into the ground.
Yep, and we're going to see how they fare in a few minutes here as we go into game. See you then. Alright, hello everybody, and we are back here in Game 1 between Inhale Debguy on the blue side and River Shen Reformed on the red. I'm Nibiria, I'm still joined by Zeta, but before he gets a word in edgewise, we're going to introduce the teams. On the blue side, Inhale Debguy, we have Jarsa in the top lane, Plasma Noodle in the jungle, username is Null in mid, Yoda GG on 80 carry, and Yin on support. On the red side...
And, of course, on the red side, we've got ourselves... I gotta take at least one of these teams.
That's fair. That's fair.
So, We've got ourselves River Shen reformed, X Havoc in the top lane, Mr. Sneezy XL in the jungle, Deliberator 78 at the mid lane, and Deft and Word Kid at 80 carry and support respectively.
Yeah,
And
I was actually wondering, Zeta, how do you pronounce the deft with the little umlaut over the E? Is it Dift?
Duft, that's probably about right. I think realistically Duft is close enough for Jazz. I don't I don't think I've ever seen that in use before
I
in a
haven't
word
either.
like that. So, it's probably fine. Realistically, to get around the fact that Deft is taken in every single server imaginable.
Exactly.
And I'm call it a hunch, but the last time I saw Deft, he had more than a nothing border on his
Yes.
account. He had a couple challenger accounts. He had a couple more challenger accounts.
I think
And,
you might just be correct on that one. I'm not sure.
Maybe. Possible.
But maybe a Chinese
idea.
pro would have a challenger border. Not sure. But we see Duft on the Zaya, and we're ready for this bot lane. As you said, it's probably going to be an exciting one, if nothing else. Zaya Rakan clearly favored, but not necessarily going to win. Both junglers starting bot side, as per usual.
And I think the most interesting thing about the start is the fact that Warwick can take a lot of interesting paths if you get aggressive. You can start like blue because you have such high sustain and go for the triple buff. You can go for their red into your blue and do a triple buff start. You can start your red, you then go red, blue, invade. There's so many paths open to you because you have a high sustain champion. But in fact, he's actually opting into the Gromp clear, which is one of Warwick's weakest clears because of the single target nature of his actual clear and his damage and sustain. Everything about him is optimized for these single target camps, and going for a Gromp means that he's delaying his second buff by quite a bit.
Yeah, I don't think the Krug start is really good on anyone, actually. I think maybe a Mumu could pull it off, but generally that camp
But why not Raptors at that point, At Raptors,
Right.
He's going to be there, he's going to be doing AoE, and then he's going to be able to do stuff,
Yeah,
Just closer to the action.
It's, suspicious pathing, but maybe there's a plan in mind. Doesn't actually seem to be the case because he's just going for blue. But you know what? It is learning fives. We're learning here.
You gotta experience it all, How can you know if that's the right jungle path if you haven't actually tried the jungle
Exactly.
path? Well,
It's like taking cuisine, I haven't tried French cuisine, but I'm pretty sure I don't like snails. But how will I know?
Well, actually, if any of you are out there and you're interested in knowing what French cuisine would taste like, go take some salt, rub it on your favorite, lard or pig fat, and then just lick it. That's about what snail tastes like.
There we
Realistically. If you want a more real taste, get a little bit of, daishi or sea salt, and get that fishy taste in it too.
Yeah, there we
But
go. We have it
X
going
Havoc
down.
rush top
Jarsa
lane.
going top. Plasma Noodle coming up for the gank. X Havoc gonna make it away pretty easily. He wasn't even in trouble. But, Mr. Sneezy XL coming up. Plasma Noodle. Okay, no fights. Just mini-map action. Meanwhile, mid lane fight.
I'm really confused about this directed cam. It was like, there's a dual mid lane
Right.
where nobody's hit anything, but there's people engaging top lane. Mr.
Ooh,
Sneezy.
Mr. Sneezy coming in. Plasma Noodle gonna get the fear off, but the stun gonna come out from Mr. Sneezy. Mr. Sneezy might be safe, but the stun coming out from Jarson. A second flash forced out from X Havoc. Not first blood, but you know what? Still exciting.
Summoners, right? Summoners are progress, except for Riot Games where you take them away because they're the backwards definition of progress, and we don't want those in our game. But take a look at this mid lane. I mentioned earlier the Caston, his ability to poke down freely onto this Talia. It's happening right now, half HP in fact, and with his second charge of potion, he still has more HP, he can still sustain up, and probably continue to bully out this Talia for the remainder of her mana or health, depending on which gives first. The Warwick still lurking though, looking for a gank.
Oh, Scrying Plant coming down, so Deliberator knows a gank is incoming, or at least within the vicinity. Nothing gonna happen, unfortunately. Oh, knockout.
Good knockout.
Almost stopped the cannon from being taken. Yoda, auto the cannon, please. You're giving me anxiety. It's so low. Please take it.
Oh, it's going down. I'm yelling timber. I'm yelling timber. It is
I'm yelling
gone.
tilted.
Absolutely distraught is our play-by-play caster at the loss of yet another poor siege minion without gold going to the proper home. If you know a siege minion in need, please donate to riotgames.gg with your money. PayPal credit cards and give them some RP because they need it. They need help in order to balance this game. They're a small, growing, independent indie company.
For
After
just
all-
5 cents a day, you too can kill a cannon minion. Oh, that was sad.
I've probably spent more than 5 cents a day on this, but
Probably, just a little bit. Just a teensy bit
maybe
more.
not. You know, 7 years, probably like $200 of RP. Maybe not actually.
I think I've spent more than I'd like to admit. I think I went on the Riot Games, you know, they had the support thing where they let you see how much you spent. I think it was at like $500. Which isn't terrible, but it's bad.
I mean, theoretically, right? If you're like, oh, you know, I spend like $500, I've spent like 5,000 hours.
Yeah,
that's
I mean,
pretty good,
I've been playing since season 2, so I feel like it's worth it. It probably isn't. That's a
Is it
laptop
worth
right
it?
there.
Let me work it. You know, turn around, flip it, and reverse it. It's a
Exactly.
laptop that can play League, in fact, because every single potato that you find at the store should be capable of playing League of Legends.
Exactly, except for a Chromebook.
As long as it's russet gold. If you get some of those, you know, Reds or Yukons, no, those are not good enough. They do not have Intel inside.
That's right.
No chance.
Intel inside. Please pay for new microphones for us. Oh, username is null going in, but Deliberator knocking him away. Mr. Sneezy coming in for a gank, but I don't think it'll be all that successful. Stun might come out. It does indeed. Deliberator not going to be able to follow up too much.
And it's really about, you know, the fact that the Sejuani doesn't have ultimate yet. When you have
Right.
ultimate, you can stop the Caston, but because of the slow clear path and a lot of interruption, in fact, taken by these two junglers, you know, Mr. Sneezy, in fact, getting forced off earlier in the game by Plasma Noodle in the top lane,
Mhm.
he's been delayed quite a bit. He does not have ultimate, and because he doesn't have the required levels before this Caston has hit 6, now it becomes a very tough
Ooh.
fight for Deliberator.
Username is null is just destroying this lane already, and that does not bode well for River Shen Reformed, really. Kassadin
if the
winning
Caston
lane is...
starts to scale,
Ooh.
could see some serious problems, because then you have to fall back on the fact that Zyra Khan is a strong lane, and they haven't been able to poke through this Nami healing just yet. It's been a lot of, you know, water flowing back and forth, keeping the Tristana up towards the top of the health bar, and if they can't find some purchase soon, you know, a jungle gank, a dive under turret, the 6 double kill that we've been expecting and we've been talking about with the globals, they're going to find themselves in a little bit of a pickle, and possibly even more. I mean, yeah, they've got some CS leads, 20 CS, nothing to sneeze at, but definitely not equivalent to a Caston with 20 CS lead and item lead and XP lead. It's
Kassadin
scale
is
lane
scary,
versus not so scale.
you know? Yes, Xayah is a very powerful AD carry, but she's not that powerful when she's dead, and Kassadin is very good at making that happen. Even with
You
her
know-
ultimate.
It's almost like Caston is an assassin.
That's weird, Zeta. I
I don't know about that one. I mean, you know, in season 2, he was definitely an assassin. He assassinated every pick ban phase. Because if you didn't, everyone literally dodged the game. Caston got through. He had a quite near 80 to 90% pick ban rate, which I don't think has ever been matched for multiple patches.
No, and actually even multiple seasons. I think it was...
He's had a very, very weird time in his ban rates, but the silences are huge. And here comes
coming
Weird
out.
Kid.
Word Kid coming in with a flash quickening, but it's not going to be enough. Charm going down onto Yin, but no snare coming out yet. That was unfortunate quickening. I would have liked to see Düft use his ultimate to try and get some extra feathers down and maybe get a root to keep them in for longer, but unfortunately not going to happen. Meanwhile, Bubble coming down, Yin getting re-engaged on Word Kid, getting a little bit low though, might get taken out, not just yet. Yoda GG coming in with some auto attacks onto Düft, but not going to get the kill. Root coming down onto him, Deliberator getting poked out a little bit. I'm having too much fun pronouncing the AD carry's name, I'm sorry. That is,
Well, more fun than he's having playing the AD carry stun in the mid lane.
oh, stun mid lane, username is null, flashing out, getting ignited, but overall, I think that's pretty fair. Pretty fair result there. Ignite out from Deliberator, flash from Sneezy as well, so victory for Null. Null cannot
Well,
re-engage,
victory only if he can actually manage to stay in lane long enough. If he starts to get shoved out here, starts to get shoved off of the XP, off the minion advantage, then we can start to worry, because the Xayah is actually, not the Xayah, excuse me, the Talia has caught up quite a bit in terms of minion. In terms of gold, nearly even in that lane, so that means that the only gold advantage on the map, besides the Warwick's slight lead from the heavy farm, is going to be in that bot side. It is going to be on the Xayah with the CS lead there. And now the Warwick Plasma Noodle could be getting caught if they do know he's here, but they don't. They have no vision. Mr. Sneezy sees him.
But he's going to show himself. Mr. Sneezy getting smited, but why?
Pantheon ult's behind.
Uh-oh, this isn't going to go well for Jarsa. Jarsa has no items at this point, but X-Havoc not going to engage. Jarsa trying to get the stun, doesn't quite get it. X-Havoc coming in with a stun of his own. Jarsa getting low, getting the Thunderlord's proc down onto him. Sneezy about to get the stun down. Havoc's going to have to go in real quick, but the fear coming out. Havoc's getting low. Havoc's getting ulted. Username is Null, teleporting in. Mr. Sneezy is getting a little bit low. Can he survive? I don't think so. Meanwhile, Deliberator trying to save his jungler, but not able to.
Another engage in the bot side. We've got Yoda dueling
getting
and so much
rooted.
damage.
He's about to get taken out. The last auto gonna get him. 2 for 2 across the map.
That's just, I gotta say I would say it's the power of the Xayah, power of the Rakan, but realistically, that was just absolutely nuts.
Quickening knockup coming in. Yin getting pretty low here. Ooh, flash burn. Word Kid getting really low, but nice heal.
Barely makes it out. Jarsa burns TP. Now he's on the chase. What can he do though? Warwick gonna try and pinch in to secure this double kill.
Word Kid might get the execute. I don't know. Yup, he gets the execute. Xayah not gonna be so lucky. Plasma Noodle getting slowed up. Oh, the ultimate coming out. Can he get the E? No. Flash from Plasma Noodle. Smart move there.
And the flash actually was more essential than most people realized. If that recall of feathers had come through, Plasma could very well have died to that and another auto attack from the Xayah. So good thing that they managed to keep those kills under wraps. Although, even though that's already been said, it's still now a significant gold lead. 1,000 gold, higher than we've seen so far this game. 12 minutes in. Now, we're going to see what they can really do. The Sejuani posturing for this dragon. I'm not sure if they really want to engage.
Getting engaged on.
I'm not too worried. It's a Kassadin.
Yeah.
He's got movement, he's got health, he's got a full Roa to his name. That's going to be even more scale advantage. And this is just disrespect on the words.
Yoda? Hello? Team? Question mark things? Yeah, this isn't going to go well. Knockup coming in. Word Kid trying to get the slows down. Yoda not getting enough autos, but not going too great. Yin blue flash. And that was just silly, honestly. That was,
2-level advantage for the Jax here.
Jarsa going in, has the stun available. Is he going to get it? We won't know. Deliberator getting a knockup onto username is Null. Null trying to get out, has to ult. Don't know if he's going to make it out either. Good lord, directed camera, please. Username is Null, getting pretty low, but has the Null Sphere shield. Oh my god, a great engage from both sides, actually. Plasma Noodle coming in, trying to keep Yoda GG alive. Yoda getting exhausted. Not going to be enough. Ult going down onto Dift. Plasma Noodle getting stunned up. Def is still alive, finally getting taken out. Yoda GG re-engaging. Plasma Noodle getting dangerously low, but I don't think the fight is going to continue. Yoda jumping in. Mr. Sneezy going to die to the explosive charge. Come on. Yeah, there it is.
There is absolutely no way to come back from that one, but what is known at this point, that the gold lead finally does fall back into the favor of DEB. I mean, they're trying to inhale, take a little bit of a breath, calm their nerves, but it's just constant fighting, one after another, and the engages finally are going the way of the Warwick. I mean, this is a lot of damage that he's bringing to the table, but with Talia inbound, oh no, the way! That
is that me?
Fortunate.
Oh man, that was it happens to the best of us. We've seen Santorin miss a Vi ult before, which nobody thought was possible till that moment, so I'm going to give this one to Deliberator. That's just okay.
I think, realistically, it's something to do with minimap.
Probably.
Sometimes you get over eager, you click, hits the minimap, done,
I've done that more times than I'd like to.
Otherwise, I mean, and I say this for a lot of abilities requiring double casts. Generally, people should be using non-smart cast for things like this, where you really need, timing, where you really need deliberation, but it doesn't need deliberation to go in. Kassadin, so much power already in this build, and he only has one item to his name. If he does go for those Sork shoes, going to be such a powerful figure in the mid lane, so easily able to take down the Talia and then probably the Xayah afterwards if they get into any fights. But the level advantage, 11-9 in the top lane. This is a harsh lane for Jackson most times, but when you shut the Pantheon down, it just doesn't matter.
Yeah, and important to note about this mid lane matchup is we see a little bit of trading going on. Username is Null. These are not hard engages. These are pokes for him. Like, these are poke trades. This isn't him trying to all in and get a kill. That's what he can do because he has the power of Riftwalk and the power of friendship, we would hope. But, you know what? That's just okay. He's 3-1 right now. Incredibly powerful, though he is down CS. Jarsa going in on Sneezy, but Sneezy's going to get the stun.
Here comes the Pantheon.
Pantheon. He tried to save the stun, but wasn't able. Jarsa getting stunned up, but a great ultimate from Plasma Noodle. Going to save his top laner. Jarsa just hiding in the back, waiting for a moment to go in. Havoc getting low, having to flash out from Jarsa and Sneezy. Oh, Jarsa, I wouldn't go in if I were you, buddy. You're pretty low. Bot lane engage might come out. Word Kid looks like he's positioning for it. Not quite able to get it.
Still has the quickness. So if he does go in and the Sonic music starts rumbling in your stereo, you know what's going on. Because right now, I mean, if River Shen Reformed want to get a lead, it's not in the 3v3. It's in this 2v2 bot lane.
Exactly.
This is a strong bot lane. It's about to win. I think even more for them. 40 CS lead, 3 kills. It's huge, absolutely massive, but they need a little bit more. Here comes
Word Kid coming in, jumping out. Uh-oh, Root going down onto both bot laners. Oh, teleport coming in from someone, can't tell right now. Def getting bubbled up and taken out immediately.
Both teleports.
Username is Null coming in, but might not even get an assist here. Word Kid getting really low. Explosive charge, not going to be enough, but the flash auto will. They're going to go for this bot lane tower and hopefully onto Dragon afterwards.
That was actually both teleports. You wondered which teleport it was. It was both solo laners actually deciding to teleport at the exact same time, so no wonder we couldn't tell which one decided to TP if they both do at the same time. Now, Mr. Freezy, Mrs. Sneezy, Mr. Oh, I don't even know anymore.
Sounds like you're starting a rap song.
Turret.
Mr.
The worst
Sneezy,
rap song
Mr.
ever
Freezy.
made, starring myself and butchering names. Anyway, it's just, at this point in the game, it's almost comical, I would say, how many times Pantheon engage and just get rebuffed, Like, he goes in for the stun, and he just gets thrown off. They go for turret, there's a war, There's everyone in the game conspiring, it looks like, to make sure that he doesn't have an impact on this top lane, and that's a great thing, If you can shut down the Pantheon early game, he turns into a non-champion, but it's not great for River Shen Reformed. They need to consider now what's going to happen in this mid to late game. How are they going to deal with these scaling carries, with these, frontline mobility heavy champions that can absolutely burst out their own backline without being CC'd?
And I think the bigger problem here is we were talking about the double TP and Champ Select. Meanwhile, Death getting engaged on, gonna get the stun from Jarsa, and he's in a little bit of trouble, flashing out. But the big problem here, I think, is that Havoc has TP. Now, in Champ Select, I said, if both solo laners have TP, that's good, because they have double global. However, since they just have the double global, Havoc hasn't, used his TP at all. I think Ignite would have done a lot better.
He hasn't used his... Neither one's actually used their ult to interfere with the bot lane much, but here comes the quickness.
Knockup going down, quickness as well. Plasma Noodle getting the ult down, but not going to be enough to save him. Going to be the first kill there. Not sure if there's another one. Havoc getting the stun down, but getting exhausted in turn. I think that was maybe an overzealous exhaust, but probably better than not exhausting.
Probably better than watching your AD carry get melted by a Pantheon. Here comes the dive into the bot lane.
Uh-oh. Jarsa and Null are very powerful here, but I don't know if they're powerful enough to 2v4. We're going to see Havoc get taken out in the top lane. Null just trying to get away safely.
And with that top lane, right, that's another turret for the side of DEV. And if they can keep getting these outer turrets, if they can get the front line, the second line, the Tristana with 4 kills now, has completely overcome her earlier game deficit and can now start just annihilating turrets, becoming the siege weapon that she was meant to be, the trebuchet of the West, This is about the time that they need to be abusing the Caston anyway. And if they want to put the Caston and the Tristana in the same lane, let the Jack split push 4-1, it would be an incredibly strong strat. That's about when you need to be abusing it, and they have the power, they have the items. It's all about getting to the turrets.
And I think at this point in the game, the 4 should definitely be bot lane, because this dragon still has not gone down. Guys, I know from experience how disappointing a Cloud Drake can be. But you know what's more disappointing than that? Not getting an extra dragon because you left the Cloud up for so long. Or losing out on a stronger Elder Dragon buff late in the game because you left the Cloud up for so long. I really think they need to start taking it. Meanwhile, the engage coming down in mid. Username is null. Dodging out those CC. Pretty well. Ooh, Yoda getting low, but I think he could have actually just killed that. Ult from Sneezy, gonna whiff a little bit. Fear going out onto him. Yoda GG trying to survive through the Xayah burst. Being very careful not to get auto, doing a good job. Quickness going down onto 3, but getting taken out because his team didn't follow. Oh no, this is not the Pantheon ult you want. It wasn't quite enough. The stun going down, but not going to save him. X-Havoc getting taken out. Ultimate from Plasma Noodle, maybe a little not the greatest, but doesn't seem to matter. Xayah almost got like a triple kill there. Oh, Jarsa. Let's go. Going on to Deliberator. Deliberator taken out. Sneezy soon to follow. Not going to get taken out by him, but instead Yoda GG. I think that's a win right there.
Oh,
Jarsa, let's go, buddy. Oh, no. Don't get stunned up. That was... I appreciated that.
I'm not so sure what's going through the minds of Deb right now, but they need to absolutely keep it up. This has been an insane acceleration of the game. They've just taken every single advantage that they had, poured it into mid lane, forced fights, baited out advantages, and are now looking to take their first dragon, the first dragon of the game, in
Thank
fact.
God.
Hopefully after that, go back to sieging turrets, get a little bit more for their money.
Now, I'd like to say something, Zeta, like this Cloud Drake will really help them with their rotations, but honestly, it's just kind of there. But when it helps, it's nice.
They've essentially, at this point, a 5 versus 4 composition, because they can leave the Pantheon to whatever he's doing. Walk mid lane with 5 and take an inhibitor. Pantheon doesn't matter at this point because he doesn't have split push, he doesn't have 2 items, he can't solo anyone, and he doesn't draw enough pressure to need to deal with him at this point in the game. So that means they can just free farm, free hit onto turrets and not worry what the split push is doing on the side of RSR.
Yeah, and I think split push is going to be the name of the game. Even though they have this big lead, I think splitting the map and prepping it such that you can rotate from lane to lane very quickly will be important for efficiently taking down these towers and not letting Deft scale up further. He already has the Essence Reaver, he already has the Phantom Dancer. He's pretty powerful, and you don't want that to keep going into the late game where your item leads might not matter as much. Meanwhile, Baron, that's what I'm talking about. That's how you snowball a lead, guys.
Yeah, this would be a 22-23 minute Baron should actually be the end of the game if this is all that she wrote. Yeah, it's down, no contest, no one even close to enough power to try and steal that away. X-Havoc could be getting killed as well.
No thinking of going in, and he can.
Dead Pantheon.
Like you said, Pantheon doesn't do anything at this point. Oh, he flashed away.
Surprising, actually. Very surprising that he let the Pantheon go, but here comes the Warwick.
Oh, Warwick ult going down on Deliberator. Deliberator jumping the wall. Ooh, Plasma. Oh, he didn't have the Q in time. Nullsphere not going to knock Talia off the wall fast enough. Oh, but there's people there, Null. Are you going to go for it? Are you going to throw the game for your team? Oh, Yoda, no. Yoda, no. I don't think that was the right idea at all. Knockup going down. Flashback from Yoda, but Word Kid might get taken out on the edge. Not quite. Meanwhile, Jarsa splitting bot. Havoc thinks he's people. Not going to happen. Jarsa's going to show him what for it means to be people. And getting taken out pretty quickly there.
And this is just... At this point, you can see the problem with picking the Pantheon. You need to focus so many resources top lane in order to shut him down, in order to shut his opponent down, in order to facilitate him getting the solo strength that we know Pantheon so well for. But solo queue, in some senses, reflects life. And in this one, it definitely shows exactly what it means. Because if you pick the Pantheon, you're taking the short way out. You know, you're taking your solo queue as like, okay, I'm playing solo queue because I just want higher LP. But it doesn't translate that well because you're like, okay, I'm going to go work at a team environment, and it doesn't do anything. You just get shut down because the only time Pantheon works is when nobody knows what the person top lane is doing to deal with him. If you say, oh, my top laner has to deal with a Pantheon, you think he just has to not die. But the reality is, you have to say, okay, bait the Pantheon, let's kill him. It's exactly like a Darius, and they've done that relatively well. I mean, he's 0-4 base, starting to get sieged up shortly hereafter. Baron buff, slightly less time left on it than I would have liked for the first time they contact an inhibitor turret, but a minute 30 should be plenty.
See, The problem with Baron buff is it's not strong enough, I don't think, to even take out that turret because of the wave clear from Deft. And Jarsa getting pretty low here. Proccing ult, though, so I think he might be able to get this kill, and he almost does, but the Pantheon passive coming out. Jarsa, no! Oh, that's unfortunate.
Brought down under turret. 1 versus 2 could not complete circular nature of this kill. I don't even know what I'm saying at this point.
You know what?
That was just, realistically, he just dove the Pantheon and smacked him front, left, and center until he collapsed under turret. Who gets the kill doesn't really matter. What does matter is the fact that if they take this inhibitor turret, if the Kassadin makes it happen, then this is going to be 1 inhibitor open, 2 inhibitors most likely after Yoda starts to
double
smack.
bubble coming out. Deft using heal there. Not sure that was necessary. Oh my goodness. WordKid getting taken out. Yoda GG trying to get the kill, but instead knocking him away. Deft getting taken out. Looks like Sneezy is going to follow. Pantheon, what are you doing? Delivery getting taken out. And soon Pantheon's going to follow here. Might be a quadra kill for this Kassadin. We're going to have to see it happen. Yoda trying to take out that tower without getting killed himself. Gonna finally get the quadra kill, and username is Null, allowing his team to wrap up that fight and soon to be the game, it looks like. Baron buff taking on everyone.
2 inhibitors. It's a bunch of Baroned up minions. This will be game number 1 going over to Debguy. I mean, as much as we thought, the Rakan and the Xayah, such a strong lane, so hard to deal with, they definitely bode their time. I mean, they spent a lot of, time giving up small advantages, getting dove, and then the one time they could punish, they did so incredibly hard. They took all the advantages that they had left on the side of the Xayah and just removed them. They removed them from the game.
Yeah, I think Shen Reformed in between games needs to talk more about team coordination and allocating team resources, because the Pantheon got shut down completely because of lack of support. The bot lane had a lead, but it never went anywhere because the rest of the map wasn't really facilitating that. So hopefully next game they have a little bit of a better time or draft a comp that fits their playstyle a little bit better. Until then, however, enjoy the music. We'll be back in a few minutes with Game 2 of this series. Hello, everybody. We are back here in Champion Select for Game 2 between Inhale Debguy and River Shen Reformed. I am still Nabiria. I am still joined by Zeta, and I am dizzy with anticipation for this match, or maybe that's just the vertigo. Zeta, how are you?
Coming down on my own vertigo, needed some smelling salts after the last one. The slight blowout that we had at the end there. And the fact that I've, been up since SKT Samsung Galaxy in the morning. So it's been a little bit of a day,
Just a
and
teens.
this should be a very interesting way to wrap it up. We've got second game of our series in River Shen Revival versus Inhale Debguy, and I think there might have been some adaptation. For those of you who don't know, we are into our pro draft style of pick and ban. So this is why all of the picks will be for their own lane, because everything has already been decided in a proper pick and ban setting, so that we don't need to worry about swapping or who owns what champions at any point during this draft phase. So Shen into Renekton. I'm going to talk about this for a little bit, but realistically, the Shen is a good global presence, better, in fact, than the Pantheon, because it's more consistent, and it deals much better with aggressive laners, with scaling, and with protecting your AD carry. So if they can get Dooft, or Doft, or Dift, or whatever we're calling him, Dift, whatever it is, ahead, again, then the Shen should be a great proponent of enabling him to do really well. Syndra locked in, Mr. Sneezy on the Warwick. We've had a disconnect. So while we fix that,
Well,
how about the weather? Yeah.
Over here it just started raining, and I'm almost happy because it means it's not cold enough for snow, but then it also means I would be frozen to death when I walk the dogs later. So, it's kind of a mixed bag here. How about you?
We've got actually no rain for the first day in almost 4 days.
Nice.
And if you're on the East Coast and you're having rain, then Rochester sends us regards, because we've gotten literally all of the rain for forever.
Oh,
and
hey.
That's just kind of the thing.
Rochester, my buddy goes to college there. Maybe you know him, probably not.
Maybe. Well, we'll talk about that later, because I don't want to give out too much irrelevant information as of right now. But
you know what? We do have
I guess we're just gonna review the SKT and RNG series, because that was a much more interesting series than the series that happened earlier today. So SKT RNG, it was set up to be the Clash of the Titans, as Thorin put it, the finals before we hit finals. And based on the results of finals, he was right. That was an incredibly close series with a lot of mistakes by SKT, and exploitation, in fact, of their early game weaknesses. In most of the scenarios, we saw RNG just absolutely dismantle SKT's bottom lane and their jungle reliance. And in fact, some of that was reflected later. Samsung did much of the same for when they won, but it's hard to say that it was one thing or another. It's just such a crushing defeat when you've been winning for so long. Sometimes players aren't as hungry, sometimes they're just not as motivated, sometimes they just don't play as well. And it's just, there's so many factors that go into something like a world championship. It's hard to say what caused a loss, but it is very easy to try and blame things.
Yeah, I actually still haven't gone over the VODs for today's series, because I'm too much of an old man to actually stay up for it, and I don't like getting up early, so I was kind of stuck between two rocks in a hard place. But I'm told that the most interesting thing was Faker crying, so I'm not sure.
Well, that's a little bit of a spoiler if anyone hasn't seen that yet.
He was so happy,
Absolutely, the happiest. Or he was so sad, the saddest.
It could go either way. Really, everything.
Well,
I think we should just talk in vagaries from now on during the entire cast too. That was a bad play for a team, I think. It could add to the experience.
It was a hard game. Game number 1, very even for most of it, and then just cracking open that game. We saw just an impeccable series of plays, and then they took that lead and they started to roll forwards with it, and then they translated it into a very strong Baron play, and then a win. And if they hadn't done that, and they allowed them back into the game, just giving them chances, giving them time, the breathing room, these hyper carries and these late game carries, they could have come online theoretically.
Yeah, so the Zaya last game. I
No, no,
was
no, that's too specific.
Oh, you're right, you're right. So the 180 carry last game that ended up performing not quite to expectations at a certain point. I was disappointed in the fact that there were expectations that were not necessarily met during the points at which we thought they may be.
Now you sound like my college professor.
Now, there may not necessarily be, following from this information, a conclusion of some sort, but there could, in fact, be a conclusion drawn from the facts I am presenting here today. I just had a lecture like that on Wednesday, and I about fell asleep. It was...
And for those of you who might or might not be falling asleep to this conversation, I apologize. We are trying our best to get everyone back in and with functional internet, but unfortunately, I don't control an ISP. If I did, I would have 10 gigabyte internet,
Oh,
and
God,
I
please.
wouldn't have to worry about any kind of download or upload speeds or anything. I mean, Google Fiber, right?
Yeah.
Let's switch gears a bit. Google Fiber. For those of you who don't know why Google Fiber failed, it literally failed because of telecom lobbying. They took their telecom lobbies and they said, no, you're not allowed to use our poles to install your fiber. You're not allowed to use our same digs, like our digging sites. You have to dig entirely new runs for every single fiber optic cable. You have to get licensing for your junction boxes, and we're going to fight that. We're going to fight everything. So they only got it in a couple places, and those places have great internet. Every single company doubled or tripled their speeds for the exact same price because internet is 98% profit. Wow, imagine that.
Weird.
So if any of you want to grow up and become cable lobbyists and change the world for us, please fucking do. Because that would be absolutely amazing if everyone could actually have internet. Like we're not a literal backwater country.
You know, it would be nice.
It's a personal rant, but every gamer feels that.
Maybe we could have I think I have a way we can get behind this. All right, and we can get everyone involved. So we know that sports fans are fanatic, and esports fans indeed are fanatic as well. Hence the word
we get
fan.
The team fanatic.
Yes, we get the team fanatic over from Europe. But here's what we do. All right, we have those teams in the certain areas create their own internet service, right?
Like Riot Games is doing, where they're creating their Riot Direct service.
Right,
exactly.
Right.
Okay.
So we have like the Philadelphia 76ers gigabyte internet. And then suddenly, if someone says, hey, 76ers can't do that, all the 76er fans will come out of the woodwork and be like, hey, what'd you say about my team? You said my team can't do something? My team is the best. They can do whatever they want. And then that is how we enact change, ladies and gentlemen.
We tie it to actual sports.
Exactly, because everything's a competition.
And locality biases. That is, I think, one of the greatest ways to actually enact change that I've seen.
It's genius.
Ever. I mean, in over 2 decades of living, that is the greatest thing I have seen in quite some time. So if you want to get involved, write to your local sports group and tell them all about how they can't properly enact laws that make sense in the real world.
That's right.
And then we'll enact change.
You know, 76ers is near me. Eagles are near me, you know. The Eagles have like a weirdly active subreddit, by the way. It's somehow like always on the like 7th page of our all, but it's on there. And I'm like, Philadelphia is not that big an area compared to like Los Angeles, is it? I don't think it is.
I have no idea.
I don't think it is.
I'll be honest. The reason I have no idea about most of that is because I don't go on Reddit very often.
That's fair.
Blasphemy, I know, but I just don't go on Reddit very often. I don't know what the deal is with Reddit. I don't see much
I mostly just
interest in conversation that takes place over one person over one sentence. You know, it's like if I want to do that, like I could just go post on Twitter and get absolutely, absolutely random people to respond. And it'd be the exact same input. And it's like, I don't like either of those.
I don't want either of those things. Jeez.
I'd like to harken back to the days of a simpler time when you just had AIM and you could talk for forever, you know?
Dude, I miss AIM so much, and they're shutting it down in like a few months, and that makes me sad. AIM is like the home of all of my childhood memories. The door creaking sound when you logged out, the little message sound, I could still hear it in my head. You know, it was good times. MSN Live Messenger as well. back then. Back when Skype was actually a usable service.
MSN. The singular. Do you remember having a singular phone?
Yeah,
Singular,
I
dude?
remember when
The cell
Singular, and
phone
I
company? Oh
wanted to
my
get
god.
Singular because we
Dude.
had Verizon. I wanted Singular
Oh,
because
we
they
had
had the cool little orange guy.
yeah, we had Singular, and then the Razor came out and everyone was like, "Oh
Oh,
my
that's why I
god.
wanted
This phone, dude."
it. And
I've never been so excited about a phone as I was about the Razor release. That phone in particular was strictly the greatest phone ever created of all time
right,
because not only could it text and not only could it call people, but it looked amazing.
yeah, and you could
And by
slide
the
up, and it was like,
criteria of which we judge every phone on, no matter what it does, it is the greatest phone of all time. Also, it had a 2-week battery. Just saying.
right, right there.
No,
That's it.
just saying.
Do you
2-week
remember?
battery.
Did you ever see that Juke phone? I forget what
Yeah,
company
the
made it.
switchblade that
Yeah,
flipped up and sideways.
that was like
Yes,
literally
I love
a
that phone.
thumbstick size. I was like, how do you use that?
One of my cousins actually owned a Juke when they
Why?
came out because we were kids. He was like 11, so we
All
had a
right,
Juke, you
fair.
know? It was like, and he flips it up and he's like, I'm like, that's the coolest thing ever. But the buttons are so tiny you can't text.
Yeah,
And
and did it even have a screen? I don't remember. I genuinely
it
don't
did have a
remember.
screen. It had a screen that was about 1 inch by 2.5 inches. For those of you who think that the original iPhone was small,
Yeah,
go look
go
up the
look up the
Samsung
Juke.
Juke. Go look up the Samsung Juke and be like, oh, that's what small phones are.
It's impressive. It is
It's
really.
I,
It is a
I just
marvel of
remember that
engineering.
thing because the best part about it was you just press on the side of it and it flips up like a switchblade.
Yeah.
And
You
it's
can
like
mug someone with it, like, come here.
you can mug someone with a Juke.
It's like, is that a Samsung logo? No, come here, I'm mugging you.
Ugh, oh my
Don't worry about it.
god.
Samsung makes knives now, alright? They're no longer just moguls and esports
It's an
owners.
e-knife. No. Tony, come here. I got a new product for
Tony.
you. It's an e-knife. You stab them, you take the credit card and you stab them.
Yeah, you understand,
It's-
you remember, you seen the
Steals the
e-cigarettes? It's like that, but it's a knife. It's brilliant. Well, they sell
Absolutely
billions.
brilliant.
Someone's restarting their computer at this point, I think. You know what? It doesn't matter.
I don't know what's
We're
going on
having
at this
fun.
point.
You know, hopefully the viewers are too.
Yeah.
They're probably calling us terrible names, and I'm okay with that, because really, our job is to entertain. And what's more entertaining than calling someone names? You know what it is? Giving them a free compliment. Zeta, you're doing great tonight, man.
Thank you very much. But you know who's doing better? Our viewers.
They are.
To all 5 of you.
They really
I
are.
appreciate every single one of you. The nth degree. I don't want to overstate that. I appreciate you all almost as much as the Mercedes-Benz S-Class sedan, the most powerful sedan in its class. 375 horsepower. No, I'm not even going to do this Dota meme. For those of you who
Why
didn't see that
not? Come on, that meme is great.
Oh, dude, I can't go through with it. Also, then I'd be crucified at the stake for admitting that I actually have played Dota enough to know that meme.
The E400 class sedan. A power... The longest running
God damn.
dynasty in Mercedes lineup introduces a powerful new member. I forget the rest of it, but so basically the story is I'll take the flame if Zeta won't. Basically during ESL for the Dota Championship, there were a bunch of Mercedes ads. To the point where people were spamming in chat, of course, PogChamp, this Dota game is interrupting my ad stream, PogChamp, etc., etc. You know how Twitch
It
shit
wasn't
is.
it wasn't as bad as the ad stream with the Yu-Gi-Oh in between, like 5 minutes of Yu-Gi-Oh in between 10 minutes of ads. But
It's time to. Do you have problems with frequent urination?
Also, to whoever did the Yu-Gi-Oh advertisement, who the you think is gonna be a Yu-Gi-Oh watcher, right? Like for the prime time of Yu-Gi-Oh, for the original Yu-Gi-Oh series, as was aired on 4Kids TV and the other previous TV channels, the average person who watched that is somewhere between 20 and 30 years old as of right this moment, I would say.
Right.
Yeah, that's about right. 20 to 30, you know? Are they really gonna have those issues? Who are you advertising to? Why this? You know, like it's almost as bad an idea as not buying the new Mercedes-Benz E400 sedan. Like,
Really, who could think of a worse idea? It's time to grow up and buy a Mercedes-Benz E400 class sedan.
also the way you say Mercedes, and that's like
I'm from
That's
Maryland,
fine.
all right. We say things funny. That's
oh
We're known for that
Same.
and crabs, both kinds. I actually hated that while I was down there.
Did you guys invent crabs? Like the STD?
It's possible. Maryland just has that much of an obsession with crabs. I hated that when I was down there because I don't like seafood. I know that's also like I'm gonna get crucified at the stake, steak, by some people for that, but I just don't like seafood. I really don't. So
Well, maybe you should have decided to move out of there sooner.
I
then.
did eventually.
Because I would have swapped with you in a heartbeat. Let me tell you what, the greatest delicacy in the world. As much as I hate Smug Francisco, right, the city, it's just crab off the dock in a sourdough bread bowl is
We could have had some prepared for you.
But
But
for as long we've been stalling for 20 minutes trying to get this crap resolved.
And we did
finally might have a game for you. I'm not really sure, but we might actually have a game for you. If someone disconnects, by the way, and you hear a loud sort of bang noise, you'll know that I've broken open my window and defenestrated myself. So just letting you know that could be a possibility if this champ select does fail to go through.
Just
but
remember,
for
kids,
now,
self-defenestration isn't just dangerous, it's a crime. I don't know if it actually
probably
is.
literally, probably only in Prague. Actually.
Probably. These bands
It's
are
actually
just...
where defenestration was first defined.
Yeah,
Is,
defenestration of Prague. They literally invented a word to justify their name of an event. At least I think.
By the way,
that's
if you're mass throwing people out of windows, you better have a pretty fucking good reason for it, or be good enough to rewrite history books so that you can say you had a good enough reason.
Yeah.
Just letting you guys know.
Just prepare, Window throwing generally frowned upon in not only the League of Legends community, but I think the humanity at large, really. Shen first pick coming out again. I wonder if they're going to pick Renekton into it, really. Oh my god! Said it's time to open that window, buddy.
I think we're done. Here.
Question mark? You know what?
I think we're done here.
Is the Yu-Gi-Oh stream still going on?
Yeah, let's just put that up instead. I'm gonna cast Yu-Gi-Oh, guys.
And here we can see Yugi playing Pot of Greed.
Okay. But where's Twitch Presents? There it is. Okay. Oh, 24/7 food shows. We can cast Gordon Ramsay. Hold up a second.
That.
Who cares about...
Oh,
Okay, I'm gonna do all the Yu-Gi-Oh voices at one time.
Oh, apparently they banned something they were supposed to pick. So, all right, we're back.
If we truly have become part of some ancient game.
Damn it, Yugi. Screw the rules, I have money. We're back in pick ban, by the way, but like you've seen this part I think 3 times now, so you know.
So what's with the giant teapot there, Yugi?
Actually, it's Yugs. You pronounce it Yugs,
Yugs? Stand back! Our monsters aren't powerful enough to beat a genie.
Yu-Gi-Oh! Really was a ridiculous show, but I loved it.
Yugi, are you out of your mind? God, fuck. I can't do this anymore. I'm losing my mind here.
Oh, look. They picked Renekton. Who would have seen that coming? Alright. This is funny. Guys, we're going to see a new pick. Warwick. Wow. Did they just really swap junglers? Alright. They swapped jungle picks, ladies and gents. It's a rough one. Syndra coming out. We saw that before as well. Galio. Now, who wins that mid lane matchup? Galio, right? Generally speaking.
Wait, is this the Capsule Monster arc?
I'm trying to do some real League of Legends here.
Oh, no. Did anyone actually ever buy Capsule Monsters besides me? I feel like I was the only person.
I didn't, but you know what I did buy because my brother was the right age for it? Bakugan.
Bakugan Battle Brawlers.
Those things were so cool. No shame. This is a tanky team
I don't know
coming
if it
out.
was No, it was Dungeon Dice Monsters.
That
That
was
was
it.
interesting. That was
Did you ever have a dual
Capsule
disc?
Monsters. What?
Did you
A
have a
dual disc? Yeah, we had dual discs.
Hell
Of course we
yeah.
had dual discs. The problem with dual discs is they bend your cards.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
So you can't actually use a dual disc properly.
But they look cool.
Oh, they look fantastic. Like, one of my friends still has 3 dual discs, and occasionally we'll get together and just mess around with dual
As
discs
you should.
and drinking. It
That's
gets
really the
better.
best combo.
Uh, so people are like, "Oh man, like alcohol's terrible for you," and I'm really not supposed to be talking about any of this on stream, so I'm just gonna stop. Actually, we've got Callista locked in, and Alistair, and Twitch, and Nami, and Galio, and I'm gonna slightly analyze this, but realistically, we've got one global team. Whoever rotates first and whoever rotates better and has better macro awareness, probably gonna win.
It's a possibility. It's a strong possibility. Kalistar, a pretty strong bot lane. I prefer Ballista, but you know what? You know what I actually saw? Do you remember when I think his name was Sawyer? He was a high elo solo queue support, so I'm getting really really niche here. He used to play support Callista. It was awesome. Like, I know that's the most esoteric
Well, the
remembrance.
thing is, when you say you have a high elo solo queue support, what was the elo? What was the season?
Diamond 1,
Like,
season 5 or 6.
okay,
So
then there's absolutely no chance I know him.
no, Diamond 1 to Masters.
Yeah.
It was so funny. I tried it. I did not do well. No shame. It didn't go well. But AD carry Callista, as it turns out, Zeta, is actually a much better pick. The reasons for this are a few. Correct me when I'm wrong. Rend is very powerful as a trading tool, so you can early game bully. Combined with Callista's W passive, which chunks for a percentage of max health. Her ultimate is great for engaging and disengaging with the free knockup and get out of jail free card, especially with something like an Alistar that has its own CC.
I mean, I could summarize this in one 15-second discussion.
All right, I'm ready.
Callista is the strongest early game AD carry bully in the game.
Boom.
You cannot beat a Callista at levels 1 through 3, no matter who you're playing. If the Callista is mechanically perfect, you will lose every single trade.
Boom. There we
That's
go.
it. That's it. She's just so strong and so easy to win lane with that you can't stop her.
Will
That's
it be
why every
enough?
single pro team bans it.
Will it be enough to keep down the Twitch Nami though?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. All right.
If played equally as well as the Twitch, Callista will be about 1.5 times as strong. Just 1.4, 1.5 times as strong always. It's just such an incredibly potent pick that if you have the mechanics to back it up, you should always be insta-locking it because nobody has the mechanics to deal with it. Nobody. I mean, this is up to and including a challenger level. Callista is not banned and is not like picked unless you're literally insane. He's just such a strong champion. And sometimes, you'll see challenger pros and they're just like, oh, I'm just going to pick Chistana. Safe, consistent, going to get you wins more often because it requires a lot less skill than the Callista does in order to win lane, but you're also consistent on. You can take down towers, you can scale into the late game. Callista is very dangerous in the late game. She doesn't have, escape tools. She doesn't have anything besides her hops. So it's all about the early game bullying, and it's just so knife's edge, It's hard to say anything besides this will be a very interesting bot lane beforehand.
Yeah. You know what?
I think I might have, yeah, okay. I was about to say, I think I might have killed Nibiru with all of my ranting and raving about Callista.
It's a lot of information to absorb, and that information was Callista is really good if you are good enough at her, which explains why I lose on her. I am not very good at Callista. But you know what? Maybe Dift will be a lot better than I am, and we'll see a real quick game lane stomp. But I'm expecting there will be some focus on the bot lane from both teams, because what you said being true, this bot lane is going to be a major point of contention. So we're going to see how that plays out in about 30 seconds to a minute. Enjoy the brief musical interlude while Zed and I get something to drink.
All right. Well, I've got a 40 and no patience, so let's get into game number 2. It's been 27 minutes since we ended the last game. For reference, if you're keeping account at home. I lied. It's been 37 minutes. I lied. So Syndra basically she has a decent matchup into Galio. The issue is Syndra's mana pool can actually be limited compared to Galio's wave clear. So if the Galio can manage to force the Syndra to stay long enough in the mid lane, and run out of mana, then he can actually take complete control over the wave, over where she can position. He can force her to stay because he has pushing power in order to shove a whole wave in, while remaining far enough back that she can't actually get proper CS. So this mid lane, and I've seen this play out quite a few times actually, I think could be a very, very big point of contention, because if the Galio is just allowed to, 1 versus 1 the Syndra, no pressure applied from junglers, it will become frozen in favor of him, in favor of the Stone Gargoyle. But it looks like Plasma Noodle is AFK. It's okay. Well, you know what? For those of you who think that you might be wanting to watch an ad marathon, I guarantee you don't, because it's the Capsule Monsters filler arc, so it's not worth it. But what also isn't worth it is playing a game without a jungler. You generally want to make sure that your jungler's back before you play.
A summoner has reconnected.
Well, see, I'm gonna go based on my own personal experience. I tell casters, never go based on your personal experience. But in this case, it might be fine because it's a general statistic over a long period of games. So I've played for 7 years, probably roughly around 5,500 to 6,000 hours of League of Legends on my main account. I think I've won 6. And this isn't 6 this season. I've won 6 4 versus 5s. So that should give you an idea of how good their chances are, realistically. Because over the course of that, I've gotten into a lot more than 6 4 versus 5s. It's probably about a 1%-ish win rate, I would say. How do you beat this, right? This Callista. Okay, so we take a look. We're gonna break this down real quick. If we could, we don't have time. Mr. Sneezy coming top. I feel like they might be a little mad after that last game. Syndra, sorry, not the Syndra, the Callista definitely showing that, but Yin could actually be taken down here. 2 more spears does it. That's it. I mean, okay, so when we're talking about Callista, we're talking about why she's so strong. If you get Fervor and you start autoing people, the Fervor damage is essentially triple because the spear is residually remaining in the body of your target. So you not only get triple the damage that you would off normally autoing people with Fervor. Here comes another gank. Jarsa could be in trouble, but Havoc's already gone. But back to the Callista. If you have quadruple the Fervor damage because you have spears in them, then every time you auto them, essentially you know that then less than a third to a quarter HP, when you get down to that point in the early game, they die instantly. And so that means that you only have to do 3/4 of the damage that you would normally do to kill someone, and most people aren't calculating for that. They're calculating for the fact that, as an AD carry, I can take this much damage before I have to heal. I can take this much damage before I have to pop a potion. And all of those numbers are drastically moved forward in order to stay alive in terms of a Callista. And when she has level 2 boots on first back, she jumps even farther. She has 35% bonus attack speed. And at this point in the game, I think bot lane is over. It's only 4 minutes in. Okay, the reason there is, right, and there's always a chance. If people mess up, there's a chance to win. Samsung almost threw the World Championship away by literally saying, hey, we're going to keep fighting SKT when we don't need to. And if that happens, right, in a best of one scenario, like right now, this is two best of ones back to back. Someone say it's best of two. I don't like looking at it that way. I say two best of ones, There's very little holding them together. Beyond this, there's nothing, at stake. So it's two best of ones, two very separate games in terms of their compositions and how they're executed. But here comes the Sejuani bot lane. Gonna try to make. Chase potential. Sejuani still here. They're pinging that they have vision, but they actually didn't realize that the Sejuani was still in this bush. Warwick close behind. Teleport actually already used by the Galio. Here comes Knockup. So, interestingly enough, right there, and I'm just going to talk about a little bit of Callista Micro, even though it's not insanely important here. The Callista could have actually thrown an extra Q and then used that in order to reset auto. So it could have been auto Q and then throw an extra auto. And you weave in an extra 2 spears for the time it would take you to reset and do 1 to 1.7, or sorry, 1.5 to 1.75 spears. So it's 3 for the price of basically 1.5, getting double your money out of it, and realistically almost 100 zeroing Yin from where, sorry, not 100 zeroing, but finishing off Yin from wherever he was. That's an extra, 2 impacts, it's 2 extra spears, and with only 210 damage left, that could have been the difference, but 2 extra fervor stacks also. I mean, for whatever fervor stacks are worth early game, not all that much in terms of scale, they still matter. It's still damage on the table. And Jarsa trading well with Havoc, but still dropping low. It's minion aggro combined with the Shen, persistence. Shen's just hammering away on him. He doesn't have sustain. Galio's coming in. Why is the Shen sticking around here? He could absolutely be dove. Needs to get out, yeah. Winds of War. I have no idea. The only books I know are like J.R.R. Tolkien and stuff. For those of you who might have been working just as hard, the Mercedes-Benz E-Class. Relaxing, luxurious seats. Oh. I mean, whatever they say, essentially treat anything you see in an advertisement as a blatant lie or misdirection designed to sell something that doesn't exist. Like, not lying to them enough to get, sued, so I guess not lying enough at all. Oh well. The interesting thing about that sort of marketing and how much leeway we give it is just how much different it is in certain other places where they're not allowed to advertise things like, pharmaceuticals. Can you imagine what TV would look like if we didn't have pharmaceutical ads? They're practically, I think, half-ish of all advertisements. Is it really called Contaminate now? It is actually called Contaminate now. For those of you who don't remember, it used to be called Expunge, which made a lot of sense because it purged the stacks off them. It doesn't currently purge the stacks, but I feel like they could have come up with a more descriptive word than Contaminate. Realistically, I mean, it would have described what it does on the tin. Flash Forced. I feel like this is a theme where this is a cool thing, but oh, Consensual Clown, I didn't know that was you. Not nearly toxic enough, need to spend some time. Username is null, could be getting low here. Syndra looking for an ultimate, possibly. Yeah, he had just used it, and the Syndra knew that. Tried to get the kill off, but yeah, Deliberator, just not enough damage at this point in the game. Bubble up. Shen ult in. Dead deft. Oh!
Blue team's turret has been destroyed.
This was just so much overextension we saw at all points in this fight. Yoda GG was safe. There was never a single time where they had consistent vision, where they had CC, where they had damage onto the Twitch himself. And so, because Def took this turret aggro first, he finds himself dying to the Twitch, who's all the way on the backside of the fight. Yes, they get Yin, but they've already committed 3 people to the turret at this point. They know they cannot get the Twitch. They have to cut their losses, run away from the fight, but unfortunately for them, they have not cut their losses fast enough. They find themselves trapped by 2 more members, collapsing in onto the sides, and that means that they lose more than they possibly could have asked for on the start of that dive. So definitely an over-aggressive play. I would much rather see them try to make plays around this dragon or around the neutral objectives instead, because they do have the Callista, the ultimate in securing objectives of the 21st century, and they need to use it more.
Red team's turret has been destroyed.
Four kills on a Twitch does that. I mean, it's hard to imagine, but when you give 3 extra kills to a hyperscaling AD carry, tend to lose your advantage. And we saw that last game. We saw the fact that the Xayah Rakan, they got advantages in the 2v2. But then the macro play focused on the bot side doesn't pay off. It's another mistake, another collapse. Well orchestrated by, Deb getting pressed on. It's an interesting point as of now, but Jarsa needs to be careful. There's 3 members here. A very, very close fight actually in the top lane, and it displays the power of the Shen in the 1v1, but here comes Warwick. Noodle? Careful there with the turret, my dude, but not dead right now. And I think this is what Inhale have done both games, right? They've taken macro leads, they've rotated just 1 to 2 members into the bot lane, used them, and just absolutely accelerated their AD carry. They're scaling AD carry both times into a position of power. Neither time have they had the lane advantages, but both times they've made plays to get them. And I think that's kind of the hallmark of how they've been playing, how they've been focusing. So, yeah. Yeah, and well, gotta give the TSM fans a break at some point. Now is not that time because I am a TSM fan. I feel ashamed still. Some of that, latent TSM fan guilt that some might say, modernize sports. Just the range advantage from the Twitch. There's almost no one on this team that can properly answer the Twitch when he is fighting. I think that he should know if you're stealthed under a turret, you're revealed, but doesn't really care at this point, and now has to find a way to answer the siege. Jarsa going low. Yeah, that's a little bit concerning at some points, but right now, oh, with ultimate. Very interesting, actually, that he gets taken out. Took too many turret shots. Again, incorrect tanking, but Mr. Sneezy... That's... brought down in the prime of his life, the ripe young age of 77 in dog years. He is taken off of the map, and I gotta say, at this point, Inhale, it's just... What can they contest, right? What can't they contest? They can, win fights at Rift. They've got great team fighting. They've got excellent protection for Yoda. Turret dives, not as well advised as we would have thought, but they remove that from their game plan. Continue with the turret sieges and just, consistently pushing advantages. This could be the way that they win. This could absolutely be the time at which they start succeeding. But, it's... Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. This time, I think, definitely a little bit worrisome at this point. It's you got to be wondering, at least, what's going to happen in regards to that that gold lead. Because at this moment, I would say that the Twitch isn't threatened. There's no one who can get to him and make him feel pressure, and he's going to get again. Dropping him with the orbs, so much damage from the Syndra, but not able to save his jungler, not able to save his AD carry either. Ultimate is dropped. Can you check stream real quick? We're getting some things where people are saying we're muted. I
Oh,
don't check
rip.
that often, but
Oh, well.
see what's up with that.
Yeah, I fixed it. Ha!
Okay.
All right,
Were
we're
you
good.
muted or was I muted?
I was. You're fine.
Okay, perfect. Okay, just wanted
The
to check.
important person was still talking.
what?
It's fine.
You know, I'm not a crazy person. I wasn't having a conversation with myself, I swear. You know, there's other voices in my head, but they're not the ones that are shoutcasting right now. What is happening is there's been some great play-by-play, and if you guys have missed all of that so far, I apologize. But we have another engage.
I'm not a great streamer. I'm okay at casting though. Word Kid isolating himself in the middle of a team fight. Yoda getting caught out once again. I was talking about this during the mute. The problem here is that Yoda keeps going too far forward and keeps getting caught out. Username gonna back up as Mr. Sneezy gets caught. Plasma Noodle coming in from behind, getting the stun onto one, kill onto Callista. Deliberator gonna fall as well. Sneezy might be the 4th kill this game, and this fight. Ulting out to safety, it looks like. Ooh.
Bounced off the gates. I mean,
If he had
you
E'd,
said it, right? Yoda steps too far forward. Another Syndra ult. Instant burst his face off, and he gets melted. The rat disappearing under a mountain of unstoppable power. And as bad as that seems, they still win the fight.
Oh, yeah.
Right? They still got Jarsa. So much damage on the Renekton. So much engage potential on the Galio. And on this Sejuani. But when it's all said and done, right, if Yoda just plays a little bit safer, we talked about not having any threats, any realistic threats, that means that the Syndra has to flash in order to be able to get to him with that ultimate, and that means that the Syndra with no flash cannot kill him.
right. And that's really the only concern for Yoda this game, but he keeps positioning in places where the Syndra can get to him. It's kind of... I'm not sure if it's cockiness or carelessness, but if they want to win the game cleanly and convincingly, they're going to need to pay attention to it. I think, however, in the meantime, at the very least, Username is Null, Plasma Noodle, and Jarsa have a big enough lead to make up for the deficit when they lose their AD carry. Because the 3 of them have enough base damages, and in Jarsa's case, just flat AD, and Null's case, flat AP, to take out the Callista. But once they can no longer do that, because I assume they're going to start building tanky at this point, Yoda's going to have to really pay attention to his positioning, or they might actually lose the game.
Losing
Like
the
that.
game, a definite worry, but here comes the ult. Not going to actually be that relevant with the cleanse still up, now down on the Syndra, but so is the Glacial Prison. With the Galio flanking from the side, it remains to be seen when the engage will come, but Bubble lands.
Oh, Bubble lands, but Yoda isn't anywhere near this fight. It's a 4v4, though. Stand United going to make it a 4v5. This is going to be troublesome. Mr. Sneezy going to get knocked up with the other 3 members of his team, but Deft is just free hitting on the back line, but it doesn't look like it's going to matter. Great engages, counter engages, and everything coming out. Plasma Noodle flashing in. Deliberator getting pretty low. Might get taken out. Stun not going to come. Pretty good
And
fight
that
there.
is all that she wrote. This should be Baron. Should be a very easy call for the members of Debguy. I mean, Ultimate, I guess the Twitch wants more. I'm very, very concerned about that, but I really think that they should just go turn tail towards the Baron, secure that, and secure the game here and right now. It should be a very easy finish.
Yep, they had 3 on it, but I really think you absolutely need that Twitch. Just period. There's no thinking about it. Plasma Noodle doesn't do enough damage. Jarsa doesn't do enough damage quickly enough. Plasma's getting pretty low. They can't contest, though, so it's fine.
Ooh, right now,
No.
that's about it. I mean,
We're good.
with the Baron secured at 24 minutes, a 12,000 gold lead, I mean, that's supremely large gold lead. That is absolutely massive in this context. Over 30% of the gold total is a lead in favor of Debguy, and if they can continue to just use this, even just straight group run it down mid, they would absolutely win. This kind of a gold lead is the point at which Riot Games does not remake games anymore. So it should be considered significant enough to close out the game once and for all. Now it just relies on the clean positioning, clean cleanup, and Jarsa and his Renekton carrying the fights again. I mean, he's been such a big factor in them winning and being able to continue fighting even when they don't have their Twitch present, even when their main carry is nowhere to be seen, because he has been a major factor in that And username is null, going a little bit far forward here.
Oh, getting ulted and getting hit with the Callista Ren. The stacks will not fall off from Zhonya's, but W coming in. Oh my god! Yin taking out Def with that bubble. Username is null, can now re-engage. Weird Kid popped his ult, but will it be enough to save him? Looks like for now it will. A great bubble landing again from Yin. And Jarsa's just...
turret.
Oh, fancy feet, Jarsa, my boy. That's the power. It's the power of a Learning 5 staff member right there. Jarsa getting the heal up. Oh, getting ulted, but not going to go down just yet. Word Kid getting killed in the mid lane, and this is just going to be a free inhib tower as Word Kid
Free
finally
inhibitor
goes
too.
down. Yeah.
It absolutely should be inhibitor at this point in the game, and with the inhibitor, with the Baron buff, they should be able to either pick rotations towards bot side, which would open up double inhib, or straight down the mid lane, which would finish the game. I think opening up the bot side, getting a second wave of minions would enable them to finish much more quickly, and that is what they will opt into doing now. RSR, can they answer anything at this point? I mean, it's such a massive gold lead. I don't think that it's possible, but it is, however unlikely,
Ooh,
still
taunt
a
going
remote
down
chance.
onto that Callista, and she's just getting blown up. Jarsa goes in, flashes for it, and gets the kill. Havoc getting pretty low. A flash out from Yo GG, and it looks like Delivered are going to get taken out on the top side. This is just an absolute massacre. Breathing, inhale Debguy, doing a pretty good job. And
Inhibitor number 2, game number 2, and the best of 2 are going to go the way of Inhale Debguy. A very clean second game, even with the first, 10 minutes not going their way. They turn it completely around. Team play, macro play, they've got the plays, and they've got the win, in fact. They're actually going to...
and they've got the
back off a little
trolling,
bit.
but you know
Had
what?
they not been trolling.
That's okay. Having a
The
little
inhibitor
fun
will
before
go down.
the
The
game.
Nexus, the overglorified inhibitor, secured and learning Fies. I gotta say, for as long as we had to wait, that was a very, very clean game. At least they made it clean in the end in order to speed up the process that we had.
Yeah, and hopefully, hopefully they had time during that break to talk about the strategy and then execute on the exact same strategy as last game. Really a brilliant plan. But you know what? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Speaking of what ain't broke and not fixing it, I plug everything we have at the end of every stream. Are you ready, Zeta? Are you ready for the plug master?
I'm ready.
All right. You can see on our Twitch TV, you have a follow button, and we also even have a subscribe button, I think. We're at least a Twitch partner. We're figuring that out. You can donate with bits, but you can also just follow the stream. We'd love it so much. We love having you here, but you know what else we love? We love having our Twitter followed, which is linked in the description below, and we love even more than that when you guys participate in the Discord channel, also linked in the Twitch description. From myself and Zeta, we hope you have a wonderful rest of the afternoon. See you then. We'll see you next week, actually, from our next show matches.